my name is Debora Costanza, and today we're gonna talk about conflict. Conflict is a serious disagreement and argument about something important. If two people or group are in conflict, they have a serious disagreement or argument and have not yet reached agreement. Conflict can happen anywhere, such as at office, at school, at home, or anywhere. The definition of conflict. In noun, conflict is an open clash between two opposing groups or individuals. For example, the harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. And the other example of the definition of conflict in noun is a hostile meeting of opposing military forces in course of a war. And the definition of conflict in noun is an incompatible of date or event. For example, he noticed a conflict the dates of the two meeting. And the definition of conflict in a verb is be in conflict. The example of verb of conflict is the two proposals conflict. The definition of conflict in a verb, for example, is this behavior conflict with our rules. Verb of conflict is go against as the rules and laws. So the example of the verb in conflict is this behavior conflict with our rules. There is multiple ways to prevent conflict in our life. One preventive way to prevent conflict is through education and awareness. Every individual needs to be given knowledge and understanding regarding differences in religion, culture, perspective, and values that are vulnerable triggering conflict. The preventive way to prevent the next conflict is through diplomacy and a dialogue. Every individual needs to build effective communication with other individuals. Every communication can be related to negotiation, mediation, diplomacy, or open dialogue to facilitate problem solving. The preventive way to prevent the next conflict is through diplomacy and dialogue. Every individuals need to build effective communication with other people. Effective communication can be related to negotiation, mediation, diplomacy, or open dialogue to facilitate problem solving. Number 3, law enforcement and human rights protection. The preventive way to prevent further conflict is through law enforcement and involvement in effort to protect human rights. Every party, both society and government, needs to contribute to consistent application of the law, protection against discrimination, transparent court, and freedom of expression. Number 4, economic and social development. The preventive way to prevent other conflict is through economic and social development. The aim is to reduce disparities, injustice, and tensions that are vulnerable to triggering conflict. There are several basic guidelines regarding how to resolve conflict in organization. Number 1, focus on problem, not personal things. The first stage in conflict resolution is to view problem objectively. This can be difficult if there are personal aspects involved and can lead to blaming each other without considering the real problem. The principle of focusing on the problem can also be a benchmark for resolving the most basic conflict, such as word conflict. Number 2, communicate openly. Open communication is the key to resolving conflict without risking an eruption in the future. Leaders or managers need to emphasize the principles of open communication from the start so organizational members get used to expressing any objection, criticism, or potential conflict that arise. Open communication can provide a way to express each other's agreement and objection for a smoother discussion. An example of compromise is when Donnie is involved in an accident with Tina. Then they fight with each other to compensate for the loss. However, in the end, they accept each other and made peace. Number 4, arbitrage. Arbitrage means resolving social conflict with the help of a third party or third side, or neutral. And as a decision maker, the decision must be accompanied by a written agreement from the conflicting parties. An example of arbitration is when the referee gives a red card to Rano and Aldo for fighting. Here, the referee acts as a natural third party, and the referee's decision is absolute and must be obeyed. Number 5, conciliation. The purpose of conciliation is to reconcile the two parties by agreeing to the end conflict between two parties. The way to resolve is to bring together two disputing parties to option a mutual agreement. Number 5, conciliation. The purpose of conciliation is to reconcile the two parties by agreeing to end conflict between the two parties. The way to resolve it is to bring together two disputing parties to obtain a mutual agreement. An example of conflict in class when there are differences in debate regarding the location of a school study tour. Conflict in the office when colleagues choose to leave a project that is currently underway when it has been decided together within the company.